Hello everyone, I'd like to welcome you all to the online press conference for the launch of Nagahama Eco-Friendly Silk NecoS, presented by Yoshimasa Orimono Company Limited. Thank you for making yourselves available for this event. And I'd recommend you to watch Speaker's View Mode today. And again, I'm Kaori, and I'd like to moderate today's press conference. Now let me introduce today's presenters and the panelists. Please welcome Mr. Kazuo Yoshida, Representative Director of Yoshimasa Orimono Company Limited, and Mr. Yutaka Ikeda, Representative Director of Yugen Company Limited, CEO and JTEC team, both from Japan. And also from Paris, France, Ms. Yvonne Dubrien, Fashion and Style Consulting Director of Peclair Paris. I'd like to invite questions and comments from the audience. During the press conference, please feel free to ask questions by chat function on your screen. We'll answer questions later. Firstly, I'd like to hand it over to Ms. Dubrien, who will talk about sustainable trends in the fashion industry and changes in textile manufacturers. Ms. Dubrien, over to you.
Hold on just a second. Partage d'écran par les participants. I'm not sure that I can share my screen here. The animateur a désactivé le partage d'écran par les participants. So could you please allow me to share my screen? Est-ce que vous pouvez, s'il vous plaît, me laisser l'écran? Yes, thank you. And now I should be in full screen, right? Is it working, and do you see the Peclair's logo? Could you confirm?
Yes, Yvonne, perfect.
Great. And here you have the title. So I'm going to be, of course, fast for this introduction because what we all are very eager to learn about is, of course, the product and know everything about the silk, right? Now, Peclair's is an agency that works in trend forecasting and also works on social, cultural forecasting and consumer behavior. So I'm honored to do this short introduction about what is the state of fashion today in means of sustainability. And it is very general. First of all, it is of course no secret anymore. This is very clear for everybody in the industry, but also on the consumer side, that we are facing a worldwide challenge on the demand for sustainable materials and sustainable fashion nowadays. We can really see that the consumer has taken all full consciousness about the negative carbon impact that the industry has on our planet and is putting pressure on the brands and on the industry as a global. So we're going to assist to a huge transformation and an acceleration, hopefully, in the years to come. We have been slow, but we can catch up because the fashion world is flexible and creative. So first of all, it's interesting also to understand how the sustainability has become for our CEOs in the fashion world, really like a guiding principle. Compared to only 1 or 2 years ago, today, every CEO states that sustainability as a target for 2020 and 2021 and the 10 years to come is going to be a top 3 challenge that they need to resolve. Transparency is also a very big part of that. And there have been very recent initiatives about transparency and communicating about what our fabrics are from, which is really a new point coming to the industry today. And what we can also see that it was before, yes, we need to invest. And yes, maybe sometimes there are costs and partnering to do, but on the longer run, like after only 2 or 3 years, usually it recreates value and it also gives a positive financial impact to work with more sustainable practices. Now, what everybody thinks now is, how am I going to step into it? As a consumer, what are they expecting from us and from my brand or from my industry? So for Peclairs, we believe in these three big ideas. You see them on here on the screen as sort of a bubbles: trust and relationship, and then also joy and enchantment. And we could see that this is like a prism, like lenses. And we could see that the overlap for them, for the consumer, is important. Just a sustainable product will not be enough. Fashion is also an emotional way of buying in things, and it needs also this emotion and joy about consumption. And then the relationship that you will have with the consumer and with the brand is important too. Please allow me a minute to develop these points. And the first one, and what has also been like recent development in them. So in trust, we can see we have here three bigger idea: true value, new materialism. So that means that we will have a consumer tomorrow that will be more into what is the fabric of my garment made of. This consumer will be more looking for clear information about it and for more sustainable background. So they will be interested to understand if it is recycled, if it is organic cotton, or is it animal friendly. They will know about these things, and we will need to adapt to this type of informed consumer. And just remind as well that 70% of the carbon impact of a garment is, of course, at the raw material stage. So the fabric is really key to sustainability for the years to come. Second point is the engagement, is to understand, can I trust this brand? How are they setting up their business? What are they thinking about? Is the idea of conserving the planet and respecting other human beings core to their business? This is going to be an important key asset in value for the consumers. It is already on its way. And I already mentioned transparency, the idea that we can freely communicate on how we made our garments because we know that they have been made in a respectful way. Our second bubble, very different here. It's about the relationship. The relationship, we can sort of decode this in different levels. So the first one on the left, we would say it's the relationship with the garment that we actually buy, meaning that we will tomorrow buy to care more. Fast fashion has made us be used to just buy and throw away, and the number of garments that we have thrown away in the past 10 to 15 years is overwhelming. It's going to slow down, and we expect consumers to buy again, to care about it. It's not like more, but better. A second relationship will be in the center with the idea of production. We do relate with the people that are behind the clothes. We do wish them to have good working ways and respectful to human working ways. This is on its way. We can see it in brands communicating on their industrial floor, but also brands like you see a little example here of Adidas, moving actually small industrial skills, like very small atelier in cities, from cities to cities, and interacting with consumers to explain how the product has been made. So this is something that was new. This whole industrialization and fast fashion gave us a more anonymous relationship to the garment and the makers, and this will be transformed. And of course, there's this togetherness in this, that we feel that tomorrow consumption is a responsibility. So we wish it to be like we're all in this together, and we would not want to buy something from an industry that doesn't treat the workers the same way that we would want to be treated. These points are really important in the relationship. And my last point here is about the joy that the fashion brings. We should not oversee this, because a consumer will not just buy something because it is sustainable. Consumer will tomorrow just, how would you say it, expect from the brand that it is also already an intrinsic value, that the brand has solved this issue for them. So they don't, the consumer, we don't think that they will expect the brand to be perfect. Perfect, sustainable textile is the clothes that we already own. So as soon as we buy something, we know it's not going to be perfect. So we will be appreciating brands that can communicate freely and humbly about maybe more the progress that they have made than what they are actually, the perfection of it. Consumer will be suspicious about that. And it's really important to have a very like a new normal statement about it. and explaining that we're moving on. The second point is the enchantment, is the idea that we will wish to be buying good design. Now, good design can be anything that has been thought of with the end of life already in mind, and the idea of making short recycling buckles to be looped as fast as possible during the industrial process. So that is actually when we can see that designers have been thinking of that, that will be also for us a source of like new creativity and new audacious creative design points. And a third one, which is also on its way in the idea of joy, and I spoke about it before, the idea of having a longer lifespan for clothes and not throwing it away again so fast, would be the idea of resell or eventually even renting clothes. So you might feel that this is a little bit frivolous and it's not going to happen soon, but look at what happened with BlaBlaCar or Airbnb. Nobody expected this idea of share economy to be on this side of consumerism. So we might expect also clothes to be judged as how long can I wear it, or can I resell it, or should I actually rent it? And that makes that the consumer tomorrow will be more conscious about what is the quality. Now, these three bubbles here, what we have seen, I'm sorry, the idea of caring, of the relationship, and of truth, we think that these values are very much today into the new product that will be explained to us now by the teams. And we think that the silk that has been manufactured with this very respectful way of preserving the waters around it will have all of the qualities to be a huge success. And we wish, of course, the teams the very best on the launching. Thank you so much for having me share this presentation. I will now hand my microphone over to the next speaker. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Now, before moving on to the presentation of NecoS, please watch this short video.
我々の作る浜ちりめんにはこの長浜の湿潤な気候が欠かせないんですね。冬は伊吹山が深い雪に覆われます。その雪解け水が地下を通って琵琶湖まで流れます。この地下水と琵琶湖の軟水が、これが我々の浜ちりめんには欠かせない大きな存在なんです。私は4年前から広幅を手掛けるようになりまして、海外のバイヤーさんとお話しすることがあります。そんな中で海外のバイヤーさんから、あなたはその地下水、お水、琵琶湖の水、それを守る行動を起こしていますか、考えていますかっていうふうに聞かれたんですね。ハッとしました。琵琶湖の水を守れる清廉、この環境を守れる清廉を何かできないかというふうに考えて、長浜エコフレンドリーシルク、このNecoSを思いつき製品化に至りました。ここが我々浜ちりめんの精錬工場です。この精錬というものは絹織物には欠かせない工程でして、絹のうちのセリシンという成分を取り除く作業です。このNecoSには2つの大事な要素があります。一つは超軟水の琵琶湖の水、もう一つは琵琶湖の水を守るための自然由来の精錬剤を見つけることでした。琵琶湖の水は世界屈指の超軟水でアルカリ性の水です。精錬にはこのアルカリ性の水が非常に大事なんですね。で、この琵琶湖の水を守りたいがために、この自然環境を守りたいという、そういう思いから先ほど申し上げたNecoS長浜エコフレンドリーシルクを開発いたしました。この自然由来の精錬剤を見つけることには非常に苦労したわけですけれども、その精錬剤を見つけ、その後に実験室での実験を繰り返し、どういう成分、どういう配分で、どういう翼比で 精錬を行ったらいいか実験が繰り返し行いました。でその繰り返し行った試行錯誤の末にライン化できるようになり、その量産化できるようになったことによって今の科学的精錬と変わらない低コスト化が実現することができました。
And now, Mr. Yoshida from Yoshimasa Orimono will give a presentation introducing NecoS. The presentation is in Japanese and translated consecutively into English by an interpreter, Ms. Ryoko Fujikawa.
改めまして、私は有限会社吉正織物工場の代表取締役の吉田和夫でございます。41年間、この300年近く伝統のある浜ちりめんという絹織物の製造を行ってきました。
I'm Kazuo Yoshida, Representative Director of Yoshimasa Orimono Company Limited. For 41 years, I've been manufacturing silk fabric hamachirimen, which has more than 270 years of history.
ただいまのビデオでもお話ししましたように、このNecoSを開発した動機は、この我々の住んでいるこの地域の大事な母なる湖琵琶湖、この環境を守りたいがためです。
As I mentioned in the video, the reason that led to me developing NecoS was the will to help preserve Lake Biwa's environment, which we consider our mother lake.
我々のこの江北地方はかつては豪雪地帯でした。この雪が多いというこの環境はですね、我々の絹織物にはすごく好条件で、しかもその雪解け水、それの地下水は我々のこの浜ちりめんを作る工程の大事な工程の一つである八丁年市のには欠かせない大事なものなんです。
The north of the Biwa Lake area where we live used to be a heavy snowfall region. However, the average temperature in winter has increased in the past few decades. I believe it's due to the effect of global climate change. Abundant snow is favorable for silk fabric manufacturing, and the underground snow melt water is essential to produce the unique high twisted yarn called Hacho Nenshi.
地球温暖化の影響と思われるのですが、最近は冬が暖かいんですね。で、この江北地方でもですね、一冬の間に降る雪がですね、2、30センチが2、3度ぐらいしかないようになってしまいました。
But in recent years, now we merely have a snowfall of about 20 to 30 centimeters, and it's only for several days during winter.
この暖冬の影響と思われるのですが、琵琶湖の水がですね、通常の冬ですと水温低下とそれから季節風によって琵琶湖の水の上層と下層の水が入れ替わる循環、これが起きるんですね。それが起こって、湖底にある湖底の方の酸素を供給するという機能があるのですが、これが最近行われにくくなってきたということです。
Usually in Lake Biwa in winter, a physical mixing occurs between the surface and the deep waters, and it's a natural phenomenon triggered by a water temperature drop and seasonal wind as well. But due to warmer winter time, the lake water remains unmixed.
これによりまして湖底の方に酸素の供給が行き届かなくなることで、湖底にいる生物の影響、それから水質の悪化が非常に心配されています。
And it's causing a lack of oxygen at the bottom layer of the lake. In such condition, it affects species that live in the bottom of the lake and its habitat.
そこでこの環境 の負荷のかからない精錬、それから琵琶湖の水を守れる精錬、科学的処理を行わない精錬、そこでたどり着いたのがこのNecoSという精錬方法です。
Therefore, we wanted to find a way to help preserve Lake Biwa's water and its environment. With that in mind, we started studying and researching to develop a new method that does not require any chemical treatment. We named the material produced with the method NecoS.
このNecoSに使用するのに、この自然由来の精錬剤、これを見つけるのが大変だったわけなんですけれども、植物の肺がいいということが分かりました。で、たどり着いたのがですね、かつて我々の先人が使っていた藁とか木の灰だったんです。
To carry out the process for NecoS manufacturing, that was very challenging. We use vegetable ashes for that. The degumming process, which is also called scouring, is essential in silk manufacturing. It was very challenging for us to find an alternative degumming agent that originated from natural elements. Our ancestors used to apply straw and wooden ashes for that.
で最初はですね、その材の分量、浴費、具体的な方法が分からず、実験室での研究が数ヶ月続きました。
At the beginning of the development, we repeatedly attempted lab testing for months to determine what kind of ingredients or type of distribution and its ratio should be applied.
この研究には滋賀県の東北部工業技術センターさんの協力なくしてはできなかったわけなんですけれども、先人の行っていたとされるその基本的なその方法ではですね、量産化あるいは低コスト化にはとても向かない、そういうことが不可能な方法であるということが分かり、その方法を見つけるためにまた相当な時間を要しました。
And we worked in collaboration with the Northeastern Industrial Research Center of Shiga Prefecture, and without their help, it wasn't possible to achieve this production. Actually, then it had become clear that with the ancient method, it wouldn't be feasible due to the cost, and it would be impossible to put it into a mass production.
しかしついにはその方法を発明をいたしまして、その技術につきましては滋賀県との共同で、特許の出願を行ったところでございます。
And after many attempts, we have yet succeeded in the production line for mass production carried out, and we could reduce the cost, which is similar to the current conventional method. And in March this year, we filed a patent application along with the Shiga Prefecture. This technology is in the process of being patented.
では、そのNecoSのですね、環境負荷の優位性をご説明したいと思います。NecoSは従来の精錬では使用するソーダ灰を使用しません。ですので、このソーダ灰の使用にかかる二酸化炭素の排出量が約 8.7 キロ削減することができます。
Now I'd like to talk about the environmental load reducing advantage of the NecoS degumming method. These are the scientific figures obtained from 200 square meters of the silk fabric degumming process. Firstly, since the NecoS degumming method does not require any soda ash used in the current conventional process, the carbon dioxide emission is reduced by 8.7 kilograms.
で次にですね、このNecoSはですね、従来の精錬に比べて使用する熱湯が4トン程度少なく、これに伴いまして二酸化炭素排出量が約93キロ削減することができます。
As well as the scalding water, it means the boiling water, need for required for the NecoS degumming is about 4 tons fewer than the conventional method. As a result, the carbon dioxide emission is again reduced by about 93 kilograms.
で合計101.7 キロの二酸化炭素排出量の削減をできることになります。これは日本人の二酸化炭素の排出量1人分の4日分にあたります。
The total reduction of carbon dioxide emissions is about 101.7 kilograms. It's equivalent to 4-day per capita carbon dioxide emission of Japan.
ちょっと申し遅れたんですが、この数字はシルク生地200平方メートルの精錬に要する数字でございます。ちょっと後になりました。
Well, as I mentioned, maybe I haven't mentioned it yet, but this figure is from 200 square meters of silk fabric degumming process.
このNecoSによりまして微力ではございますけれども、この琵琶湖の環境を守ること、あるいは地球環境の保護に少しでも役立てることができれば幸いと考えております。以上で私のプレゼンを終わります。ありがとうございました。ありがとうございました。
Thank you very much, Mr. Yoshida and Ms. Fujikawa. Now, let's move on to the panel discussion with Ms. Dubrien, Mr. Yoshida, and Mr. Ikeda. The theme of the discussion is expected changes with NecoS in the luxury fashion industry. You may begin now.
So, this is Yutaka. Thank you very much for presentation of Ibon-san and Mr. Yoshida-san. So we just talk about very shortly concerning to the balance of the sustainable and economy. This balance is very important for the future, as the Ibon-san mentioned. So we would like to talk about 2 points. For 1 point, for view from the consumers, and 1 point view from the suppliers. So Ibon-san, what do you think about impression, good impact for the consumer's attitude of NecoS?
I think that the consumer will be very looking at responsible fabrics and the idea that it preserves specifically the water is a very important key element in this evolution because consumers generally are very concerned about the quality of water on the planet. So this is one of the positive impacts that I have understood from your technical explanation. And also what I can imagine is that silk for centuries has always brought also a huge emotional quality to mankind as a fabric. So that will also be a very good extra quality, that it still remains beautiful, even maybe more beautiful with this new procedure, like the aesthetic is preserved.
Thank you, Ibon-san. Thank you very much. So also I have a question for the view from the suppliers. So Mr. Yoshida-san, how to show or is it possible to visible of the supply chain of NecoS production for the consumers?
はい。はい。 日本人はちょっとこういうですね、サステナビリティなファッションのことにはちょっと遅れていったかなというふうに思うんですけれども、今日の菅首相、昨日ですかね、所信証明でも2050年に二酸化炭素排出ゼロ宣言みたいなことをおっしゃってて、非常にここから関心がすごく高まるのではないかなと思うんですが、そういう一般の方々の関心度が高まることがやっぱり我々の供給者側のその訴える必要性というものも高まってくる、あるいはそういう地球環境に対する責任みたいなものをですね、訴えていくっていうことは一般消費者の方にとっては大きくアピールするのではないかなというふうに思っています。
So I think as the Prime Minister of Japan declared yesterday, he said the target of Japan is the carbon dioxide emission zero. So as Japanese, we took a kind of that we were not really sensitive for the sustainability issues, but for the moment, it's increasing the interest in Japanese consumers as well. It's increasing, and I think the consumers' demand, as the consumers' demand increases, the product producers and the manufacturers need to switch to this kind of sustainable production and manufacturing. So I think that's the way to communicate to the consumers how we can contribute to the change of this global trend.
So thank you very much, Mr. Yoshida-san. So we hope this development could change not only in the luxury fashion, also the all fashion world for the future. So we hope this kind of method could be acceptable. The most important thing is it could be acceptable for the consumers. So we should act powerfully in the future. So, thank you very much. And so we'd like to move to the question and answer for this conference.
Thank you, everyone. And now I'd like to invite questions and comments from the audience. Please feel free to ask questions by chat function on your screen. And I've got already some questions. And firstly, it is from where? This is the question from Kara. Is the price competitive?
This question is very important. So generally, the sustainable product is the cost become higher. So, Mr. Yoshida-san, this production, this NecoS, how is the cost of the NecoS compared with the chemical method?
そこはですね、非常に大事なところだと思っていました。で、最初にこのNecoSの精錬方法が分かった時点で、これが果たして量産化できるのかなと いうふうなことを考えたときに、とてもこの先人のやり方では不可能、先ほどのプレゼンでもちょっと申し上げたんですけど、そこにはちょっとこだわりまして、量産化をですね、図れるような技術の開発にもう一段研究を進めて開発が出来上がったということです。非常に意識をしておりました。
Excuse me. The result is the cost is the similar cost.
私の
そうそう。
藤川さん、通訳お願いします。
Actually, the presentation, well, that was the ancestors' way was not possible to make it and make the produce as a mass production. That's why there was a big challenge to make it as a mass production. We wanted to make it lower decrease the production cost. So that's the challenge. I continue the answer now. どうぞ。
じゃあもうこのまま続けて言います。コストは今までと同じでできるということと考えていただいたらいいと思います。
Okay. The cost, well, after our, our lab testing and after our study and research, we finally achieved to lower the cost as similar as the conventional method. So you can consider that the cost is very similar to the conventional degamming method and the product.
終わったみたいですね。はい。
Okay, let's move on to next question. Frederic from France, where is the origin of this silk?
これの絹の原産地。
生糸の方ですよね。はい。
生糸とちょっと分けて、生糸はどこで、生地はどこで。
なるほど。まず我々の生地の方から言いますと、これは我々が自らこの長浜の地で300年続いてきた技術で作り上げていますので、このメイドインジャパン、メイドイン長浜と言えるものです。じゃあちょっと通訳。
Firstly, I talk about the fabric. The fabric itself, the silk fabric, is made in Japan, made in Nagahama City, by using the same technique, which has 300 years of history. So this is made in Japan.
でこの我々のこの生地のですね、原料の生糸、これについてはもちろん日本で、作られている生糸も使ってはいるのですが、残念ながらかつてのように、たくさんはできていないのです。通訳お願いします。
The yarn and the thread, silk thread. Of course, we use some silk thread originated in Japan, but in Japan we used to produce lots of silk yarn, silk thread before. But since the production decreased drastically, we also use the other threads.
で、今我々が使っている原料は、世界最高と言われるブラジルの生糸。それから中国でも世界最高の品質の生糸ができておりますので、そのブラジルと中国の生糸を原料として使っているというのが現状でございます。
And we currently import the finest. It's considered as one of the world's finest silk thread. It's the silk yarn, silk thread from Brazil, and also from China, the finest silk thread from China. We mainly use these threads.
はい。
Okay, let's move on to next question. Do you have any certification or guarantee from Jessica, England?
これはまだ認証というものはまだちょっと取れてないんでございますが、この技術がもう確固たるものとして、認識をいただくといいますか、ために滋賀県、一緒に開発していただいた滋賀県の技術センターさんと共同で特許の方出願を先ほども申し上げましたけれども、この3月に特許の出願を行ったところでございます。
Well, it doesn't exist, not yet, the kind of certification level for this kind of product. But as I mentioned in the presentation, we already filed a patent along with Shiga Prefecture.
Okay, thank you for the questions, everyone. It looks like we've run out of time, so I guess we'll finish here. We'll follow up and reply to all unanswered questions later. Thank you for your understanding. If anyone has any questions, comments about NecoS, please feel free to contact Yoshimasa Orimono via its website. That concludes the online press conference for the launch of Nagahama eco-friendly silk NecoS. Again, we'd like to thank you all for taking the time out of your busy schedules to be with us today. Thank you. Goodbye.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.